Casting with Ceri Jones.
This episode has been brought to you by Fishing in Wales, the #1 website for Welsh angling, created by anglers for anglers. Where, when, how and what to fish for in Wales. Fishing in Wales has it covered. Hi everyone and welcome to this week's podcast. This week's guest is Marketing Manager of Fishing in Wales. We meet up at the last week of the season at the Beacons Reservoir on the edge of the Brecon Beacons National Park. Like myself, he has a passion for wild browns, and he goes through in the summary of his season. He talks about his work with Fishing in Wales, from trout fishing, the salmon, the sea trout and bass, and his goals for the winter months ahead, where he plans to fish for grayling and pike. Wales has got a lot to offer, and we had such an enjoyable time. We fished in the morning, had a few fish, and then made our way over to the island where we make and brew and did this recording. Welcome to my chat with Ceri Thomas. Well, it's not a bad place to have lunch, is it, on the island?
Oh, it's absolutely stunning out here, isn't it, Kev? Just another lovely place in Wales where you can come and enjoy yourself, isn't there, with a bit of fishing?
Yeah, I have fished here in the past, many times years ago, but never actually been on the island.
Yeah, I've been fishing up here for maybe over 20 years. This is one of the first reservoirs I started fishing, and you get to know it. And you can wade round the back of the island and wade over, and you know it's a great little spot here.
When I fished here last, they used to stock it with rainbows. It's not now, is it? It's just purely wild browns.
Yeah, it's been wild brownies probably for about 15 years. Welsh Water used to put in a few hundred, but it's almost always been wild brown trout fishing here. This was the main attraction, for me coming up here was good sized wild brownies. Like we've had a few today, haven't we?
Over a pound.
Yeah, nice.
Pound and a quarter.
Lovely fish, and they're good quality fish, plenty of them. Historically over the years, 3 and 4 pound wild brown trout are coming out of here,
No, is it run by a club or it's leased by a club? What's the story with?
Yeah, well, the Beacons Res, it's always, to my knowledge, been leased to the Osprey Fly Fishing Club. So you can join the club for about £60 a year, and you can fish it here as many times as you want.
Is it?
So it's been a really good option, inexpensive fishing. And the other way you can fish here is a day ticket with the fishing passport with a YNS Foundation.
Right.
And you book that online.
How much is it a day to fish this place?
£10.
Nothing, is it?
So it's nothing really. Or as I say, if you want a full season on here, which is £60, and you get about 14 miles of the rivers as well for that.
Yeah. I'll mention in the story notes then the contact details for the Ospreys, if somebody wants to join them. I was a member there. That's how I started off fishing. They got a clubhouse in Abercynon. Yeah,
they got a clubhouse in Abercynon. I remember going there a few times, and it's a good crack with the boys, and good fly tying evenings, and like many clubs in Wales, isn't it? They're well run.
Well, as we set up this morning, I set up with a floating line, hares in a point, size 10, and a 12 cruncher. And it's quite calm then, wasn't it? Hint of a breeze, nothing much happening. And I had one and struck into, missed one, but they were down a bit, weren't they? So what did you put on?
Yeah, so I thought they might be down a bit, and I just put a long leader on with an intermediate poly leader and just a simple black mini lure. Dog knobbler, I suppose, would be the old word. Streamer is the fancy term nowadays. And just fished that and just kind of cast it out where I could see the river channel, near the top end of the res.
Yeah.
And just let it sink into the gully, and picked a few up doing that,
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to go imitative, do you? Sometimes we can give trout a bit too much respect. You could just throw a line out with you know, like a lure, and you'll pull them just as much.
You will, yeah.
better
They're more
fishing.
aggressive wild brownies than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
You know, they're quite territorial, and it's water temperature dependent. You know, the back end of the season, like today,
Yeah.
lovely, you know, cool water temperature, and the fish, you know, they are getting that sort of breeding instinct. They're a bit more
Yeah.
aggressive. So with a lure, early and late in the season, it's a really good tactic that perhaps a lot of people don't really use.
Well, this is the last week of the season, the brown trout season. Now, I think it's finishing Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. 17th of October. So we got a few days left. But yeah, this is just, you know.
It's funny time of year, mind, isn't it? Do you know what? When I woke up this morning, I think, right, do I take thermals with me or suntan lotion? Because on Sunday, I was fishing on the Usk, and you had to have sunblock on.
Oh, it's been a freak of a year, hasn't it? We've had this freezing cold spring, and then that very, very hot, dry summer, and then this prolonged sort of Indian summer, sort of autumn, haven't we?
So how's your season been then?
It's been really good. To be fair, given those conditions, you know, I probably started off on the rivers more than anything. And, you know, there was some great fishing on rivers like the Ebu and the Upper Taff and the Usk early season. And then, you know, a bit of fishing on Talybont one early. I think I bumped into you, myself.
Opening day, wasn't it?
Llyn Parfit, yeah. And we had quite a good opening day.
I wish I did. I fished it opening day, and I probably give it a miss for a month then, and got back in sort of middle of April.
Yeah.
And it was superb then. But the thing is, I spoke to Tim the other day, Tim Llewellyn, and he said,
Yeah.
I missed the best bit. Even though it was cold and, you know, the lake was high, some of the best fishing is in March.
Yeah, it's almost like a duck fly experience, you know, they're on the black buzzers, which I kind of didn't do because I'd missed out on quite a lot of river fishing last year because of the lockdown. So for me, that early part of the season was, getting on the rivers and, you know, so I kind of did that. And, you know, as I say, I had some great fishing. And then I came back to the lakes then sort of August time, middle of August. You know, and then decided to fish through till the end of the season, just concentrating on the lakes then. And, you know, been up to quite a variety of different places.
You got Talybont the other day, weren't you?
Yeah, I went to Talybont with Llyn Parfit and Lynn Davis. And we've been wanting to give that a fish for a while, you know, because obviously it was once known as a premier fishery, wasn't it, in Wales?
It was, yeah.
And I think it changed hands, didn't it? 2015, and they took the boats away, and nothing much happened there. You know, you couldn't even get a ticket. But I did some stories of some big fish being caught there about 2 years ago. A mate of mine, Lee Evans, he went up there and he had one that was an ounce under £4.
Nice.
A wild brown, and you could then get a bank ticket from the hotel.
That's where you get your ticket now.
Yeah, you get your ticket in there, and so we went up there, got the ticket. It was 16 quid, just bank only, and we went up the north shore of the lake then, and just fished along the margins. And
that's the opposite side of your hotel, is it?
yeah, the opposite side.
How do you access that then?
Well, you've got a couple of options. You can park by the hotel and then walk around the bottom road, or we went down
By the house on the far side.
there's a house, yeah, and there's a road, so you can drive along that road, and there's like a lay-by in front of the house.
Oh yeah.
And we went through it there. I will warn you that if you do go, look out for the barbed wire fence. There's a farmer, he's built a barbed wire fence for part of it, but there are places you can get over.
Oh.
So just make sure you bring your waders, because once you're in the water, the fence stops you walking along. You got to almost wade along the margin.
Oh, right.
And then, you know, fish your way up. Lots of weed in there still, like this Canadian pondweed, but it was definitely fishable with some nice like gaps in it, you know.
Yeah.
Like about 20 yards out, you had like a weed line and a little trough, and the fish were cruising that. And it turned out really well. You know, it was very slow to begin with, flat calm, couldn't get anywhere near the fish, you know, and the water was like gin clear. As soon as you got the cloud and the wind, it really picked up, and we ended up with some really nice fish. I think we had, you know, probably like 40 fish between three of us.
Yeah.
and up to about £1.25. Good quality wild brownies.
Yeah.
Saw some really big fish moving when it was calm, you know, fish top and tailing, you know, as they do, the fish appeared and they mopped up little buzzers, and I could see some of these big backs, you know, and they were at a range or couldn't get anywhere near them.
I'm hoping to see one or two good fish today, mind, because even while we've been sitting here now, there's one or two good fish that could be a couple of pound out the distance, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We kind of need a bit of wind, don't we, just to bring them into the shore, you know, they're kind of out there.
And you could hear that I don't know if it picks it up then, Mike, that helicopter now. Like we did the Brecon Beacons National Park. And that's probably someone, the search and rescue, probably.
It probably is, yeah. They seem to be quite regular. I actually went up to Snowdon as well a few weeks ago, up there. And,
did you?
And, yeah.
What, fishing or
fishing, yeah. 3 days.
Yeah.
And we were up near Tryfan and Midwell. And it was myself and Alan Parfitt and Mark Evans went up there. And it was a great little long weekend fishing break. But there was helicopters there. And you could hear them all the time because, you know, people are going up the mountains unprepared.
Did you have any goals this year which you've fulfilled?
Yeah, well, one of them was to climb to the highest fishable lake in Wales, which was the main objective of this trip, you know. So we managed to get there. It's called Llyn Fan, which means Well of the Moon, because it's so high up. And I think it's 2,200 feet high. And hell of a climb, from the valley, a good hour. And
did you catch?
Well, Parf caught. He had a nice fish, maybe just under £1.
Right.
But it's a very small lake. It's kind of...
I think I've seen it.
Yeah,
it's
line. 5 or 6 acre, gin clear. And, you know, as soon as it was flat calm. So
what is it? Llyn y Fan?
Llyn y Fan, yeah. But yeah,
so you didn't quite get the highest trout in Wales yourself?
I didn't get it myself, yeah, but I was happy enough to see it being caught, and I managed to get it all on film. So I did a little video for the Fishing in Wales YouTube channel.
Will we see that though?
And yeah, I've just released it onto the channel.
Oh, is it?
So it's worth having a watch, you know, and I got it all on film, the climb up there and the capture of the fish, you know. So
I fancied doing that a while back. I did get on to doing it, and the highest lake in South Wales, I think, Llyn y Fan.
Yeah, that's quite a high lake.
In South Wales, I think.
Yeah, it's full of fish, but unfortunately, you're not allowed to fish it officially. It's
Oh, did we touch on this last time?
Yeah, we did. I don't think we could talk about it, but
So that's one goal. Was there any other goals you did? Didn't you have a good fish on the Taff?
That was another thing. I really wanted to catch a £3 plus wild brownie from a river. You know, they're genuinely rare fish, so I'd kind of done a bit of legwork looking for fish on the Upper Taff near the end of the season, you know, September.
It's on Merthyr way, is it?
Yeah, on the Merthyr Tidville Club. And to be fair, I'd managed to catch some fish up to about £2.5. Some really good fish, you know, started to appear at the back end. Yeah. But this one stretch I was fishing, I came across several large fish and thought, oh, bloody hell, you know, if we can get one of these and do a video as well, it'd be ideal. And we just had to wait for the conditions. We had a little bit of rain, and it was the penultimate day of the season. So we went up there and, yeah, £3.5.
Oh, this was the other day then?
Yeah, the other day, yeah, just before the end of the river season. Absolutely amazing fish, you know, captured on film. And we, you know, we talk about the fishing up there. And
do you put any pictures up? I don't see that.
Yeah, there's one I think I put up.
But
I mainly kept that one
wait till the video
back, yeah, because we're going to put the video out probably over the winter months, you know.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, quite a few others going out as well. So.
And what did you take?
Took a little pheasant tail nymph, fished, you know, on a French leader.
Oh, right.
So almost like under the rod tip.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, just kind of drifting it, you know, near the bottom. And
that's become popular now, isn't it? Everyone's doing it.
It's really popular, and if you look into sort of
it's really popular and unpopular.
Yeah, I know it does divide people, doesn't it? It divides the traditionalist, doesn't it, from the modern anglers, and because it's a competition method, you see, so it's really effective, and you could probably give it to a beginner And if they want to catch fish, teach someone how to fish with a French leader, they're going to catch a lot of fish.
There's a couple of guys I noticed to fish sea trout with them. And they've had a few fish from various rivers down south, the Neath and Ogmore.
Well, Llyn Davis, who I was fishing with the other day on Talybont, he does that on the Towie. And he's had some good sized suing doing it, like, 5-6 pounders, in the daytime.
I've had a couple of goals. There's only one I didn't get. I wanted to catch, like I fish Ystrafellda, and I wanted to catch a 2-pound trout from Ystrafellda, which is run by Mountain Ash Anglers. And I joined the club because you've got two waters, Penderyn, Rainbow Water, and they've got Ystrafellda. And I joined the club just to get Ystrafellda. And I did manage to get one 2.5 early on in the season. I fished a lot with Sean Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And great angler. And we had a boat numerous times early season. And that was the biggest one. So I was chuffed to bits with that, the 2.5 pound. I was hoping to get a 2-pound trout as well, my goal for Talybont, but I haven't done it. I was seen with my own eyes 2 big trouts from Talybont.
Yeah.
You're talking like 4 to 6, maybe bigger.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact they're in there. So I'll have to stick to it. I might squeeze in the day, maybe, before the end of the year, but I think listening to Tim, it's the early part of the season you're likely to get them.
Yeah.
And not so much on the buzzers, your style.
The lures, yeah, or like a Montana nymph with a marabou tail, this is the sort of stuff. It's but yeah, there's some clonkers in Talybont, isn't there? It's just a great res, like so many of them are in the Brecon Beacons. We've got such a variety, and all easy to access, aren't they?
I tell you what, a bonus I had this year, which I didn't expect. I did a podcast with Paul Slaney, and while I was chatting with him, we went down the river, and I was hoping to get some pictures of him into a salmon. So I had a couple of casts myself, and I struck, and I was into a shad.
Oh yeah,
2-pound shad, and that's something which you didn't expect, But I think that must have been around about June time. But they come up in the river then, don't they? Up in the Usk and the Way. Yeah,
it's like a mini tarpon, isn't it? Yeah. It's it's a protected species, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah.
They invest quite a lot of money into keeping them keep the runs going, apparently.
Yeah. Have we done anything with the bass?
No, I haven't. That's been on my list, and I might do it November because Vaughan Thomas, don't you? He reckons that later in the year is when people have gone home and they're not doing it. November is the month to do it. So I might go down and pay him a visit and do a bit of bassing. So I know that you've been out, haven't you, off the Glamorganshire coast and
you're saying about Vaughan. I tell you who else thinks it's better towards the end of the year is David Miller, the fish artist.
Oh, yeah.
He says people just finish now, thinking that's it, but not. Right up October, November, into December even,
So people don't realise the water temperature stays warm, doesn't it? It takes so long for it to change, for it to cool down.
Yeah, I fished back throughout the summer. I was going once a week. And again, the goal there this year was to get a £5 plus on a fly.
Right.
And I've had 2 over 5 in one night actually, but I've lost big fish, 2 big fish, double figures. But I'm happy that I've got the 5. But it's something that's gripped me, It's something you can really, and you can't go any time. You got to wait for the tides and.
There's a lot more to it, innit, than chucking chance, So they're cracking fish, like on the fly, like £5.
Yeah, all along the coast, all the way from.
Yeah.
All the way down to Pembroke even. But I normally fish the tidal stretches, the estuary.
Yeah.
I've never done, say never, I have done, but I don't fish the sea itself.
Yeah.
Which I know people do, and probably get more luck with plugs and things.
It's easier, isn't it? Yeah.
But and it's the sort of thing which I found. You can just go for like 2 hours, just a couple of hours, which is great. You can fit it in with your work or whatever. And I think Wales is spoilt really. There's all along the coast, there's the places to catch a bass.
For bass, isn't it? I mean, you don't need to go as far as field as Ireland, and You know,
No.
you've got our Welsh coastline. It's just famous for bass, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Did you do any sea trout fishing this year?
I did. I went down to the Towie. I didn't catch anything.
Oh,
So it seems to be a very quiet year.
It was, yeah.
For most of the Suin rivers. The exception, it's been the Ogmore. I've seen some of the boys fishing that, and some tremendous Suin and salmon coming out of there. There's a semi-urban river in it, you know. It's
yeah.
phenomenal.
There's good grayling apparently in there as well.
Yeah, they've kind of spread. You know, they're more common. I think they started off in the Llyn,
That's right,
which
yeah.
was known for them for many years, and they've dropped almost into the estuary, and they've recolonised. You know, they've gone up into the Ogmore and into some of the tributaries as well.
Now that this season's coming to an end, are you one of these anglers who'll go straight into the grayling now and fish the rivers?
Yeah, I probably will. It's great to do it in the winter because Wales, we've got so many brilliant places to go for grayling, haven't we? You know, you've got like the River Dee in North Wales, the River Severn. You've got the Upper Wye, the Irvon, the Ethon, all the tributaries up there.
Yeah.
And the South Wales rivers there, like the Lower Taff, the Rhymney, which is one of my favourites. You know, it's a fantastic, very prolific grayling river that is.
And it would be like that's what's a check Llyn y Fan. Would you use that French leader style for that then?
Yeah, just basically the French leader casting a very short line.
Yeah.
It's almost like jigging, like, you know, you're presenting the flies hard on the bottom.
The bugs.
Yeah, bugs basically. They're very heavily weighted, you know, with the tungsten beads on them.
Yeah.
And just kind of on the bottom, really, on the snout of the fish.
What sort of size are in the Taff now?
Well, the Taff, a 2-pounder is probably a good one on the Taff, but I have heard of, you know, fish 2.5, 2 3/4.
Yeah.
You also get plenty of 2-pounders on the Rhymney. But if you want a really big one, usually the Irvon or the Upper Wye or the Severn
You get like a 3-pounder
would be
fish
the
then, yeah.
potential there for like, you know, 50 centimetre grayling. The Welsh Dee as well, you know, is another one that can throw up some really big fish.
Yeah.
And
It's never gripped me, to be honest. It's like, it's a
Yeah.
laugh. I was talking with Tim Llewellyn the other day, and we were talking about it. He said, "Oh, that's girly shit, that is." He said,
yeah, I don't know if I agree with him. But yeah, it's great. It is something to do in the winter, you know, and it's just that nice. You don't need a long session. You don't need to go out there and chill yourself to the bone and, you know,
Yeah.
2-3 hours, you know, up to your armpits in freezing cold water is more than enough.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they're quite obliging fish. They're not, you know, once you
Are you at the
know
pocket
how
of
to
them?
do
You'll have a
it.
couple, like, don't you?
Yeah, they're shoaling fish.
Yeah.
And they feed like even in the coldest temperatures. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you want something to do in the winter, keep yourself busy, keep on fishing, then yeah, grayling
Yeah.
is...
I tell you what I did
Good.
fish this year. Again, I had a break for about 8 years. I never cast a fly for a sea trout, right?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't cast a fly for a
Yeah.
sea trout. And I joined this year Neath and Dilys
Oh, yeah.
River,
Yeah.
and what a river that is,
Yeah.
and a well-run club. And but I didn't fish it till late on. And I went out one evening, or one night, with Andy and Samantha Funning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've heard
Great
of it.
people.
Yeah.
And they took me to the stretch lake. I wasn't familiar with it. And they took me out guiding. And I hit into 5 fish this one night. And I did manage to net one of them. They were on and off leaping, they were, but I had one 3.5 pound, which is nice.
Oh, brilliant, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to... It's something which I definitely will do a lot more of next year, but they were late. I was hoping to do
Yeah.
it early on, but like everyone says, it was almost like non-existent, but it did come slightly good towards the end, didn't it?
Yeah, it's that cold spring. It seemed to have set it all back about 6 weeks, everyone was saying. So the runner fish
Yeah.
didn't happen early. And then because we didn't have any rain in the summer months, you know, it just didn't really happen. So,
Yeah. So, what's the story with fishing in Wales? Where are we at now with your work?
it's going really well. Yeah, I mean, since we launched it, this was back in July last year. It's been phenomenal. We've been really pleased how it's gone. We've had so many visitors on the site. You know, about 230,000 visitors on there. It was just well beyond expectations. But yeah, it's gone so well, and I think, you know.
I noticed with the pictures, you obviously you've got to try and get all the styles of fishing, but you were fishing Ponstickill the other day, weren't you? coast fishing?
Yeah, so we're doing quite a variety of different videos, you know, for all sorts of fishing in Wales, just kind of showcasing the best, you know, fishing opportunities that we got, you know. And yeah, went up to Pont Sticketh, Dorrigair, bit of feeder fishing for the bream, which was really good fun, you know, and a bit different.
Did you get many?
Yeah, the boys had loads. I think we had like about £30 worth of bream and stuff like that, and perch. A couple of pike came in as well to have a look, swirling around, you know. So very, very good. But yeah, in terms of the videos, it's well worth having a look at the YouTube channel and subscribing, because we've got quite a lot of stuff coming through at the minute. Obviously, that video about the Taff fishing up there. I did a video with Stephen Jones on the River Tyvy, which is another gem of a river. Like, so that one's coming up as well.
Tyvy's been known. I fished Tyvy many times in the past. And what else you got? The Towie is more or less the water for the big sea trout people talk of, isn't it? Well, and the dovey. But the Tyvy, you tend to get more fish on the Tyvy, but they're a lot smaller, aren't they?
Yeah, they do. I think they're more like your 2-3 pound range, aren't they, with the odd 8 pounder. But it seems to be very prolific there. And in terms of the trout fishing, I fished it a few times this year, and it's really come back, you know, as a trout river.
Is it?
You remember, like, Oliver Kite, you know, used to be a big champion of the Tyvy, didn't he, years and years ago? Yeah. And it was well known, but what happened? You had sheep dip, which killed a lot of insect life, you know, 1980s and acid rain. And the trout fishing just went downhill, but, you know, recent years, it's booming, you know, a nice big trout as well, you know, you're talking 2-3 pound trout.
You spend a lot of time down there, don't you? You have holidays on the Aberystwyth lakes.
Yeah, this is it, yeah, I love it up there. There's so many angling club lakes up there, and the Aberystwyth Club has got about 10 different lakes for you to fish.
There's caravans or something?
And they've got caravans, yeah. Llyn Fan Fach has got the caravans on it, and you can, you know, it's great. You can just wake up in the morning, have a few casts, and but yeah, there's quite a few up there. There's another one, Talybont Angling Association. They got 4 or 5 lakes just north of Aber. You've got the reservoirs there, you like Nantamorch, which is a really good one.
It's nice to be beside a lake, and if you've got accommodation. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this island now. I'm looking for a flat patch. I might come back and stick a tent, yeah?
Yeah, it's one of them spots, isn't it? Yeah.
As long as it doesn't rain in the night and the levels rise, you won't be able to get back out on the bank. But this setting, where we are now, and a lot of the setting, the mountain lakes, you could be anywhere in the world. Looking around us now, you can imagine, you could imagine a beaver just coming across any moment, like, you know.
Let's not talk about them. I know they're talking about reintroducing them, aren't they, to some of the rivers, and the potential is there, obviously, to put dams in the way of the salmon and the suing, isn't it?
Oh, so, right, yeah.
It's a bit of a touchy point.
Apart from the videos, then, is there anything else which you get involved with fishing in Wales? Yeah,
we've got a blog, so we put all the stuff on there, and that's well worth having a look, because we've got some really good written articles. You know, particularly for your game anglers, so there's stuff on there from the likes of Stephen Jones, George Barron, Paul Morgan, you know, Cockabondi books, Denise Ashton and the World Trout Trust, Alan Parfitt, he's written some really good articles, particularly on bass, Gareth Lewis and Wyn Davis, and of course yourself, you did one on Garnfrwd, didn't you?
Well, funny enough, you saying Garnfrwd now. That's something I'm going to be doing now over the winter, 1 or 2 days, because I noticed they've just put a fresh batch of Spartics in.
Oh, what a lovely looking fish. I haven't caught one yet.
Haven't you?
But I will give it a go down there, because we did a video for Fishing in Wales in the spring down there.
With Reese?
With Reese, yeah. So Reese is absolutely fantastic content.
Didn't you foul hook a big rainbow or something?
I hooked one. I can't comment on whether it was foul hooked. Well, basically, yeah, it was a 16 pounder, and
was it?
Wow, could have been.
Oh, was it really?
I don't know. I'll tell you the story anyway. So we were doing some filming with Jamie, the owner. He was on the other bank, and where Rob Hughes was shooting it, and just fishing a buzzer. First couple of casts really, and the line just locked up, and I knew I was into a really big fish, and this fish was just tearing up and down the lake, you know, into the backing.
Was it?
And just hell of a fight, you know. And
Just a single buzzer?
single buzzer, yeah. Yeah, just a single crisp packet buzzer. And it must have been on for about 10 minutes. And, you know, it was going under the platforms, you know, it was like it was on steroids, like, you know, it had an injection of caffeine in it or something.
Yeah.
Because some of these double figure fish, they don't really fight that hard.
No.
But this one,
The
wow.
weight.
Wow, it used every sort of ounce of its weight. And it was diving under the platforms on the far side, and eventually it dived under my feet. And there was like almost nothing I could do, like, to stop it. And it was like one of those really like tense moments. Oh, this fish is gonna snap me off. And Jamie like came in. He knows what he's doing with the net, and managed to net the fish under the platform for us. So.
What part of the lake was that?
Just when you cross the bridge on the right hand side.
Oh, you're on the island?
Yeah.
Oh,
just that first peg on the right hand side. But we got it all captured on film, so it's there on the Fishing in Wales YouTube channel. That
14
big fish. 16.
16?
Yeah,
Nice.
16 it was. And you know, the brilliant pieces, as we were talking from Reese there, about how to fish the small still waters, you know.
Yeah. Very good. I have to look at that. I haven't seen that. I've seen the still pictures. But, when I went, around about 12 months ago, I think he puts them in this time of year because these Spartics, they like the cold weather.
Yeah.
And I had a couple up to about £4, £5. They're amazing looking fish. They've got these like magenta spots, and in the right light, they look incredible.
It's
You
got that
always
brook
visit.
trout look to it, hasn't it, you know? The
Yeah.
spots on them.
Yeah. Looking back on the season, on the videos you look, and I saw one clip which you put on, must have been at the start of the season, and I felt for you when I seen it. Did you hook and lose a humongous salmon?
Oh yeah, oh man, I'd forgotten about this. This is quite a good story. So yeah, there's a bit of the Y that I'm in the club, Gwent Angling, and you know, we've got some good water.
Gwent Angling?
Gwent Angling Society, yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a beat down at Wirestone near Monmouth, and it's got a good run for the salmon. And I was down there fishing with Anthony Evans, my mate from West Wales, you know, and he was flogging away with the fly rod, the double hander. Nothing, but there was fish showing, and I picked up my spinning rod and cast that in and hooked into this
Was it a flying sea or something?
flying
was it?
sea, yeah, single barbless hook, and hooked into this thing that basically stuck on the bottom, you know, but I could tell it was a fish, you know, but could barely do a thing with it. And then it went downstream, like a screaming run of 50, 60 yards, like off the reel, you know. And again, just praying, you know, the fish would stay on. He came back up through the current. I was shouting to Anthony to get the phone, you know, to film it, because I had him back in my mind. Oh, this would be brilliant if we can land this fish, talk about it, you know, for fishing in Wales. But then the fish kind of did this thing where it sort of wallowed, and the head and shoulders of the fish like came out of the water. And
It was a fair distance out, wasn't it?
oh yeah, but Jesus, it was like a bloke jumping in and
It was
belly
like a
flopping.
cow's leg. The length
Yeah,
of
it was unbelievable. It was a springer, like, you know, and the average size of the fish being caught at that time, the beat down below us had several like 25-pound
Yeah, I looked at.
springers, you know, and it looked that, and you know, we obviously it came off just that shake of the head, you know, and that boosh, and yeah.
When I
it
saw
was
the
just-
splash, it looked like
yeah.
someone fell out of a plane.
It did, it did, didn't it? Like a couple of breeze blocks being thrown in. It was
Yeah. And I just saw you going, holding your head.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I know. Oh no. yeah. Anthony thought it was quite funny actually, but these things happen, don't they? This is fishing
tell me
view, isn't
about
it?
Yeah. Nice to get connected to it. At least you've seen it as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple of fish you think they're big, and you don't see them,
Yeah.
and you lose them, and you never really know how big
No,
that
no.
fish was. I've mentioned it on one of the podcasts when I was fishing on the Ogmore. It was actually this year. Oh, let's wait till this helicopter goes. What do you think when you're stranded on the island?
Yeah. Been in Vietnam, innit, with these helicopters.
It must have been June time I lost a big fish, and I was fishing the Ogmore for the bass. And leading up to it, I had a few around 2.5. You get a few of those. In the day it was. And I hooked into this fish in this one pool. And he was just so erratic. He was just darting everywhere, running towards me and then running away from me. And it was stripping line, and it was like, it was madness. I'd never seen someone move so fast. And then I got him more or less within sort of 15 yards away, and he was just head knocking. And I could feel the weight there. Next thing, just went to sea. And he just went, and he was screaming the line off. Took my full line, took about 30 yards of back in, and I thought I better run now. So I was running down the bank with it. Yeah. And he just went and went and went. Next thing, line went slack, came.
Oh no.
So I'm thinking what it could have been, you know, even though I was fishing for bass, there's no way that was a bass, didn't fight like a bass. Possibly a big mullet, more than likely. Or just a freak salmon.
Could be a freak salmon, fresh run. As I say, I've seen some big salmon in the Ogmore being caught, you know, 15, 20 pounders, so, you know.
And do you know what happened? And I should have put a post up about it, actually, because when this happened, there was a drone above me.
Right.
Somebody down the beach had this drone, and he was filming. I'd love to one day see that footage, you know, to see what it was like, you know.
I wonder if he appreciated that when he played back his footage. He had this film of you running after this unknown enormous fish. It sounds brilliant, doesn't
maybe
it?
One day, maybe someone's listening to this now.
Yeah.
And they say, yeah. You're saying that you're going to do the grayling fishing in the winter. You got a passion for pike, or you did have, didn't you?
Yeah, I do love fishing for the pike, and last year I was doing quite a bit on the Y, and was doing quite well before the lockdown. But you know, to anyone out there who wants to try fly fishing for pike, Wales is a pretty good place to go, because you've got Llangorse Lake, which isn't too far away from where we are now. You can hire your boats there. Brilliant fly fishing for pike, autumn, winter.
Where'd you get the tickets for Llangorse then?
So you get them there. Basically, there's a little shop there.
Is there?
And I believe now they've got a facility for you to book it online. So you can go on their website and book yourself a boat. And they've got a couple of reservoir trout boats there now.
Right.
So you can fish it properly instead of those little punts. And the only thing you've got to bring along is your own engine. So a little electric motor or a petrol outboard.
Yeah.
You know, and it produces lots of sort of mid-double figure fish, you know, like 15, 16 pound, the odd 20 pounder, which is great fun on the fly rod. And the other venue, of course, is Tros Fynydd, which is open, I think, till the end of December. So as well as you've really good trout fishing there, it's become famous
for the pike.
For pike. And there's people coming from all over to catch them on the fly there, and they're regularly catching 30 pounders. You know, so that's on my list as well. Something to do over the winter or for next season is to go up to Trout and try and get a really big pike up on there on the fly.
Yeah, they had big trout this year there, didn't he?
Brown
trout.
Yeah.
I think it was a farm trout it was, I think, wasn't it?
But funnily enough, I was sent a video of this 24 pounder by a very happy angler. And he thought, yeah, great, you know, send it in for fishing in Wales. And I watched the video. Yeah, it was amazing watching this fish go back. But unfortunately, all the guys were effing and blinding so much.
Oh, you couldn't
use
it?
If I couldn't use it, every other word was beep, beep, look at the size of this, beep, beep. And, you know, it's the excitement of the moment, isn't it? But, yeah, the thing was huge.
Yeah, it was fat. It was never...
I don't know whether it was...
Never in a billion years it was grown on.
I'm not sure how long it had been in the lake.
You know, what could it grow on? Interest,
I don't know. Maybe it was eating the pike.
Still nice to have, like.
It's the Welsh record brown trout, I believe.
I can imagine.
And it also is throwing up, like, you know, a good number, 15, 16 pound brownies up there, you know.
Yeah. Something which, another thing I'll mention, something else which I plan to do this year. To be honest, at the start of the year, because the previous year was such a disaster for everyone, this year I planned to overdose myself on fishing. And that's what I did. You know, I joined I think about 5 season tickets in different places. And the plan was, one of the things I wanted to do, I had those goals which I mentioned.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm going to do next year for certain is to have a couple of days with Shane Jones.
Oh,
We
yeah.
planned to do it this year, and to be honest, he asked me a few times and I couldn't get on to doing it. To fish for the Ferox
Right.
in Bala.
Yeah. Yeah, that would
There's
be
big
really
brown
good.
trout in Bala. And so next year I'm going to prioritise my fishing and have a couple of days there.
I think you should, mate. Yeah, with your knowledge, these big waters, you've got to put some time in, you know.
Yeah.
And I've seen some like accidental captures of the pike anglers.
Have you?
You know, yeah, and I think the biggest one I've seen was £16 brownie by somebody trawling for pike. And you know, potential's there, mate. Yeah, I mean, you've got the bait fish there as well,
Pleased
haven't
to
you?
saying that now, because I wasn't sure if you can trawl there, or I know there's boats obviously, but whether or not you can fish off a moving boat. I don't know.
I think you can. I think from what I've seen.
Can you do that on Pond Stick?
Now, you can, and I know people that have got boats on Pond Stick, and the way to do it, you've got to join the Pike Anglers Club of Great Britain, which gives you third-party insurance liability.
All right.
And then you've got to join the sailing club as well, and of course be a member of the club. But once you've done that, you can launch your own boat on there. And I know some of the boys are doing quite well on the pike, so whether trawling or lure fishing.
Right. I thought it was static boats.
No, I think you can move, you can trawl. As far as I know, obviously worth checking.
Yeah.
But the potential there for big brownies, they're untouched. Like nobody's fishing for them.
Especially if there's coarse fish there, and there are, isn't
Yeah. Well, this is it. As you know, like I suppose Corrie, they're on the roach, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's got thousands of roach in there. Small
Pond Stick?
perch. Yeah, Pond Stick is full of bait fish. So, you know.
That's the thing with Bala, they've got Gwynedd, whitefish, which I think is exclusive to there, I think it is.
It's a deep water
I think they blind
fish.
those fish, don't they? They're so deep
Yeah,
that they haven't got eyes, or they can't see very good.
Yeah, I think they got eyes. They're basically like a whitefish you get in Canada, aren't they? Like, but small, quite small, and they're pelagic, aren't they? They live in the deep water.
They're like eyed, and they eyed looking. In fact,
Yeah.
you saying that now, I caught a £5 whitefish in one of the rivers in Sweden years ago, and they were similar looking fish. Yeah, so that's something, a goal for next year for me.
Yeah, I think you should try it.
Because hopefully it's been 2 years now and I haven't been over to Cardiff, and it's alien to me. So next year now, even though I plan to go over, it'd be nice to have a water on my doorstep, which is only like 2 or 3 hours away, to give it a go.
Yeah, it's just got that potential. The big old water, innit? It's over 3 miles long. You just never know what's in there. In these Welsh lakes too, you know.
Yeah, watch this space.
Yeah.
You got pipped at the post of catching the highest trout in Wales by Alan on Parfit. So you're going to try and beat him with something else next year?
Well, what we're hoping to do is try and get a torgoch, or that's Welsh for Arctic char. Get one of them on the fly. So we've kind of run out of time this season, but we've heard of a couple of lakes up there where people are catching them on the fly. Padarn is one.
Oh yes, in Padarn.
In Padarn, yeah. And the other one is Llyn.
Are they deep then? There's like an image they've got, the deep sort of dwelling fish, or are they just, they catch them on the surface?
Well, sometimes they are, yeah. This lake called Llyn in the Carneddau, and I know a couple of people have been up there this year, and they were catching them on dalbachs.
Oh, right.
Fishing on a floating line with a weighted point fly, just to kind of get the fly down. So they're catchable. So we're hoping maybe to go up there to the Dolgarrig Angling Club, which has got quite a few of these lakes with char in it.
I tell you what would be nice to do. Perhaps we can do something next year to try and get as many species on the fly in like 24 hours.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be good to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like a rod race, Welsh rod race. Yeah.
I actually I played a part in that years ago. There was a Welsh programme, Ras Pysgota.
Yeah.
And we did that, and we just go from one place to the sea, to the lake, to the river, to try and see. But I think it'd be nice to try and catch as many species.
What, freshwater? Or
Yes,
you got
freshwater.
the bass as well, mullet and
Well, we could do. Aye.
taupe on the fly, that could be one.
Yeah.
I did a bit of taupe fishing in the summer.
Did you?
And that's hell of a thrill that is, because they're strong fish. Unbelievable.
I tell you who does that is David Hoppy.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And
the kayak.
Yeah, in the kayak. And
Yeah.
he has them like 4 or 5 feet long in a kayak. And
hats off to him for that, mind, because they're very strong, and they try and bite you as well.
Yeah, he doesn't use the fly though.
Yeah, but they reckon it could be caught on the fly. The skipper we were out with out in Newquay, he reckons catch them on the fly is possible because the water's so clear there.
Yeah.
That they'll come up, and they'll sometimes follow your bait in when you're reeling in your bait, and we saw some actually that did that, come in and. So if you had a fly rod there ready with some big old fly and a wire trace, put it in front of his nose,
Yeah.
you might have a chance,
Saying about David Hoppy, what he does in the winter, which is something, I don't think there's anything in Wales, anywhere in Wales we can do it, is zander fishing.
No, there's no zander in Wales, officially. I'd heard rumours, apparently there's zander in Cardiff Bay.
Won't be past it.
Yeah, the NRW had done some sampling down there, and they'd actually discovered a couple of juvenile zander.
Is it?
So whether that, they're still there or they're established, it's an unknown.
Yeah, big carp in Zander Bay, in Cardiff Bay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mystery, that venue. It's there, isn't it, in plain sight, and apparently they reckon it could have Welsh record carp in it, Welsh record pike in it, Welsh record mullet in it, and Welsh record perch in it.
I bet they got cats even.
It probably is. They're putting them in, people do this thing, don't they? I know some of the Vale of Glamorgan, the little ponds that the club's got. I know there's some catfishing there being put in there illegally.
Is it?
So there's no reason why they're not being put into the Taff and going into the barrage lake. But down there, it's basically 400 acres of lake. You can only fish probably about 5% of it from the bank.
Yeah.
Because it's a very limited area that you're actually officially allowed. The Cardiff Bay Lake, yeah. There's only a very limited area that you can fish on the Glamorgan Anglers ticket, and the rest of it's like out of bounds.
Yeah.
So the places where all the big fish are, you can't fish, like under the St David's Hotel and, where all the jetties are, Penarth Marina, and under the flyover by the IKEA and by where the Harvester is.
Yeah.
There's some, huge pike there, but you can't fish it, and you can only go on the shore. You can't boat fish it.
I think what we'll do now, we'll make another brew, and it's clouded over now, so it probably looks ideal. There's a breeze coming in. It's a change direction.
It has. I think it's swinging around from the south now.
It was blowing towards the dam just now before lunch, and now it's coming off the dam.
Yeah, sometimes a little change, it might push the fish up towards us,
Yeah, but at least we got the conditions now. So I think I'll stay with the setup I've got. I've got the hares here on a point, and the cruncher, and the floating line, and hopefully it'll take a fish near the surface. You gonna stay the same, you?
Yeah, for now. I mean, if we get more of a ripple, I may add a dropper on there, and fish something on the bob fly.
Yeah.
Maybe a sedge jog or something like that, which is a great, exciting method,
Yeah.
Which does remind me of earlier in the season. I went up to Llyn Gwyddior.
Right.
And up
I don't know what that is.
near Llanbrynmawr. Emma Lewis's, Emma's lake, Llanbrynmawr angling, which you can actually float tube, and that's a place in the middle of the summer when they get a good batch of sedge, and I remember float tubing it and just skating, the top dropper, and wow, there was some really big fish in there.
What waters are you allowed to float tube in Wales?
Well, this is it. Some of them actually allow you to do it. So there's the Scotters Ogwen Club North Wales, so you can float tube quite a number of their lakes. Cambrian Angling Association, based in Festiniog, and they've got about 14 different lakes that you're allowed to do it.
Right.
The Llanbrynmawr angling, which is, Emmy's Lake, so it's Coch Howard and Gwyddio that you can go up and tube.
There's nothing in South Wales then, no?
No, there isn't, unfortunately, though, I see it as being one of the best methods of fishing. I don't really understand why it isn't allowed more widely. With Welsh water allowing people to paddleboard, kayak, canoe, and these people aren't even paying for the access like us anglers. So, I
Fair
find it
enough,
hard
you were saying, I was asking what these buoys
Yeah.
are on this lake here now. There's 2 or 3 buoys across the top end,
Yeah.
and you said it's for kayaks.
Yeah,
Just to tell them they
they're
can't
allowed to
go below.
launch. Yeah, they can't come up beyond these buoys. But float tubing, like in terms of like pure enjoyment, I reckon that's one of my favourite ways to fish a lake in Wales.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly safe. I reckon it's safer than fishing on the bank because you're in a life ring basically with a life jacket.
Yeah.
Can't get any safer than that.
And it's easier to access some places. It's
Yeah.
easy to get to some places because, like, to walk here now, it's quite boggy and clumpy in places.
Yeah,
A lot of people wouldn't even do what we've done now, come around here. With a float tube, we just jump in and you get anywhere, can't you?
yeah, this is it. I have float tube this years ago, and I remember Welsh Water, they put a mistake in their brochure where it showed the little float tube icon, because they were allowing it on a couple of places up North Wales, like in Anglesey, and I remember I phoned them up and said, you sure this is right? Oh no, we made a mistake in the brochure. But then I said, hang on a minute, I'll give it a go, and if it becomes popular, can you keep it as a permanent fixture? So they actually let me float tube on here for a season. But yeah, no, they took it off the brochure then the next year.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. But I did those Cambrian lakes. If you want to give it a go and somewhere that actually allows it, they're really good. They've got a couple of lakes called the Gamath Lakes.
Yeah.
And I float tubed them end of August. And myself and Lynn Davis were float tubing, and there was another 2 guys already on there tubing, and the club was quite welcoming of it. And there was a tremendous fall of red ants getting blown off the heather, and we had some brilliant top of the water sport there,
Yeah.
And from the bank we would have struggled because they were getting blown on the water, these ants, and the fish were mopping them up, just cruising up and down right in the middle.
Yeah.
And it was a case of fishing out there for them.
It's great when you get these ants. You get the flying ants on the local water with Llyn Fawr where I fish.
Yeah.
Oh, when they come on. At the start of the hatch, you catch them.
Yeah.
But when it's in full swing then, they're like hoovers, sapping every, it's so hard to catch
You
them.
can almost have too many, they kind of gorge on it, don't they,
But that's probably one of the best club run waters. There are lots of really good waters in Wales run by clubs.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit biased there. But for the first time in the history, this next stocking, they're going to put browns in.
Oh, that's really good.
Which I'm really looking forward to,
It's a variety as well, isn't it? I'd say everyone now, people put the fish back, so,
Yeah.
it's nice to have that variety, isn't it? And
Yeah.
especially brownies, isn't it? It's.
Yeah.
I was actually fishing on the Taff, middle of August, caught a lovely brownie of over £2, and I returned it to the water, and I looked up, and there was a terrapin watching it all
On the bank?
on a stone in the river.
Oh, was there?
I took a photo of him,
How big was he?
like a dinner plate,
Really?
and it was just sitting there, like
Someone's pet, probably.
somebody's
just didn't
pet.
want
And
it.
they put it, released it. Probably it had grown too big for the tank, and it got even more bizarre. Parakeet then started making some noise out of the tree above, which again is a bird that shouldn't be here, but apparently they're established. Parakeets in parts of South Wales. So
Didn't see any giraffes as well, did you?
well, this is it. I was expecting it. It was a proper urban jungle. So terrapins, parakeets, whatever next, innit?
Yeah.
But
Let's get this kettle on the go now, And another brew, and we'll give her another go this afternoon.
yeah, let's give it a go then, mate. All right,
Nice
lovely. How long was all that?
47, 48 minutes. Should have put it on record, really.
If this is your first time tuning in, make sure you catch all future episodes by clicking subscribe via the links on my website, castingwithkerryjones.com, or via iTunes or your favourite podcatcher. If you like what you've heard on this episode, feel free to drop me a line via my website. Tell me what you've enjoyed, ask a question, or better yet, tell me what you want to hear more of in the future. And if you're looking for additional tips, tackle reviews or venue information, or just want to see what's been hitting the back of my net lately, search up Casting with Ceri Jones on Facebook or follow me on Instagram. And if you still want more, I'm regularly uploading video content onto the Casting with Ceri Jones YouTube channel, so just check that out and subscribe over there too. Wherever you follow, subscribe, comment or message, I look forward to catching up soon for a good fishing chat. Well, I think that's all for now, so until next time, tight lines and don't strike too soon.